Study 8.10 Our Creator's Calendar, Keeping the Calendar in Practice, and the Calendar for Yisrael 2027/2028. Shalom, this is the 10th in a series of studies on the subject of Our Creator's Calendar. The outline of this study. 1. Keeping the calendar in practice on a desert island. Our Creator gave us an observable calendar in the heavens involving the sun, the moon, and the stars. We do not need religious leaders, politicians, or a paper calendar to tell us which day is the seventh day Shabbat and the other Moedim. A man alone on a desert island with a little knowledge can simply look at the sky. The pegboard. A man alone on a desert island would make himself a pegboard to keep track of the days and lunar months. The pegboard would have 30 holes representing the 29 or 30 days of a lunar month, and another 13 holes representing the 12 or 13 lunar months in a year. 2 pegs would be used, one for counting days, the other for counting lunar months. Each day the man would shift the peg, counting off days, thus keeping track of the seventh day Shabbat. Each full moon the man would shift the peg, counting off the lunar months. Knowledge. There are 88 recognized star pictures. Only 48 of these star pictures make up the Hebrew Mazzaroth, according to Bullinger. To keep our Creator's calendar, you need to only recognize some of these star pictures, those closest to the ecliptic: Virgo, Scorpius, Sagittarius, Capricornus, Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, and Leo. Referring to study 8.5, Our Creator's Calendar, identifying the beginning of the Kodesh lunar month and the beginning of the Shana year, with Dawid and Yehonatan, 1 Shemuel, chapter 20. The Earth is orbiting the Sun, and the Moon is orbiting the Earth. The full moon opposition occurs when the syzygy is Sun, Earth, Moon, stars. As before, we have the countdown to the full moon opposition, then the sign when the Kodesh came, to show that the moon has crossed over the syzygy line. That sign, when the Kodesh came, is the moon rising after the sun sets in the Erev evening twilight. That night the full moon shines brightly from east to west. I'll call this the full moon night. Then the sunrise, marking the beginning of the Kodesh, the first day of the lunar month, also known as the Kisi Yom, throne day. When the Kodesh came, the moon rises after the sun sets in the Erev evening twilight. Morning sunrise is the sign of the Kodesh, the first day of the lunar month, also known as the Kisi Yom, throne day. Identifying the lunar month. The man alone on a desert island would identify the beginning of each lunar month by his knowledge of the star pictures and by observing the full moon. He would then keep track of the days with his pegboard. 2. Keeping the calendar in practice in the 21st century. Our Creator gave us an observable calendar in the heavens involving the sun, the moon, and the stars. He does not want us to blindly follow a paper calendar hanging on the wall. He wants us to observe His creation, His calendar. So I follow the same method as above, the same method as King Dawid used, but I also use our 21st century resources to assist me. Establishing Rosh Hashanah. 1. Use timeanddate.com to establish the dates of the equinoxes and the dates of the full moon oppositions. 2. The full moon opposition must be after the March equinox, because we need the barley crop to be ripe for the wave sheaf offering. 3. If the full moon opposition produces a lunar eclipse, then it may be observed. However, most lunar months, the full moon opposition does not produce a lunar eclipse. 4. There must be either 12 or 13 lunar months each year. 5. Using Stellarium software with location Jerusalem, Israel. We need Israel as our location because we want the woman to be standing vertical, not lying on her side. 6. We are looking for the first moon rise after the full moon opposition, when the moon rises after the sun sets and the moon is close to the star Spica. This is the sign when the Kodesh came. This is the sign for King Shaul's first banquet meal. 7. That night is the full moon night, when the white moon shines brightly from east to west. 8. At the next sunrise there is a strong sun-moon handshake. This is the beginning of the Kodesh, the first day of the lunar month, a day of rest and worship, also known as the Kisi Yom, throne day. 9. The next moonrise we see the sign of the woman with the moon at her feet, Revelation 12:1. This is the sign for King Shaul's second banquet meal. 10. Finally, we are looking at the next new moon conjunction, as this will be the day of Passover, and we want the new moon conjunction to be in the star group Aries, as this is the sign of the Lamb. So from timeanddate.com lists the date and time of the full moon oppositions and the equinoxes. Use Stellarium to determine which full moon marks the beginning of the year. Here are the full moon oppositions marking the beginning of our Creator's calendar years for 6 years. Note on the day before the full moon opposition, the sun sets after the moon rises. At the time of the full moon opposition, the full moon is either at or past Spica. On the day after the full moon opposition, the sun sets before the moon rises. This is the sign of King Shaul's first banquet meal. The next day is the Kodesh, the first day of the lunar month, and also Rosh Hashanah. In the evening, the moon is at the feet of the woman. This is the sign of King Shaul's second banquet meal. And then 14 days later is the sign of the Lamb, the new moon conjunction, the dark moon, in the star group Aries on the day of Passover. Having established which lunation marks the first lunar month of the year, we may fill in our table identifying which years have 12 lunar months and which years have 13 lunar months. This is a pro forma for calculating the Kodesh, the first day of the lunar month, at your geographic location. For example, for an observer in New Zealand and lunation number 1290, convert the date and time of the full moon opposition from UTC to New Zealand Standard Time by adding 12 hours. Then observe the next moon rise, which marks the beginning of the full moon night. And then observe the next sunrise, which marks the beginning of the Kodesh, also known as the Kisi Yom. And likewise for an observer in Los Angeles, California, USA, and lunation number 1290. Convert the date and time of the full moon opposition from UTC to Pacific Standard Time by subtracting 7 hours. Observe the next moon rise, which marks the beginning of your full moon night. And observe the next sunrise, which marks the beginning of your Kodesh, also known as Kisi Yom. Having established the first day of the lunar month in terms of the Roman Gregorian calendar, fill in the Roman Gregorian calendar for the remaining days in the lunar month. So in summary, we're completing these pro forma for each lunar month of the year, and then we go outside and observe our Creator's calendar at the nominated times. Calendar format. Marking up a conventional calendar. Here I have used yellow highlight for the 7th day Shabbats and pink highlight for the other set apart days. Note the dates here are for an observer in New Zealand. Kerry French at The Creator's Calendar presents her calendar in this format. Note the dates here are for an observer in Pacific Standard Time, USA. I like to use this format as it allows me to keep notes alongside each day. Note again, the dates here are for an observer in New Zealand. 3. The calendar, Israel, 2027/2028. As explained above, we have a year with 12 lunar months beginning in lunation 1290 and ending in lunation 1301. Kepler's law, the Earth's orbit around the Sun is not circular but elliptical, and the Moon's orbit around the Earth is not circular but elliptical. As a result, Kepler's law is in effect, and the radius vectors from the Sun to the Earth and the radius vector from the Earth to the Moon sweep out equal areas in equal times. When the Earth is at perihelion, close to the Earth, the Sun's angular motion across the sky is faster than when it is at aphelion, distant to the Earth. When the Moon is at perigee, close to the Earth, the Moon's angular motion across the sky is faster than when it is at apogee, distant to the Earth. This irregular angular motion across the sky explains why the moon phases do not line up neatly with the seventh-day Shabbats. This irregular angular motion across the sky explains why the full moon does not line up neatly with the star pictures, aka constellations, each year, and another factor here is the 13th lunar month in some years. But we have two marks in the sand. We have the full moon opposition marking the beginning of the lunar month, and we have the full moon opposition in the star picture Bethula, also known as Virgo, marking the beginning of the year. The first lunar month, the full moon rising at the feet of Virgo. The first lunar month with notes. The first lunar month continued. The second lunar month, the full moon rising in Libra. The second lunar month with notes. The third lunar month, the full moon rising in Scorpio. The third lunar month with notes. The fourth lunar month, the full moon rising in Sagittarius. The fourth lunar month with notes. The fifth lunar month, the full moon rising in Capricornus. The fifth lunar month with notes. The sixth lunar month, the full moon rising in Aquarius / Pisces. The sixth lunar month with notes. The seventh lunar month, the full moon rising in Pisces. The seventh lunar month with notes. The seventh lunar month continued. The seventh lunar month continued. The eighth lunar month, the full moon rising in Aries / Taurus. The eighth lunar month with notes. The ninth lunar month, the full moon rising in Taurus / Gemini. The ninth lunar month with notes. The 10th lunar month, the full moon rising in Gemini / Cancer. The 10th lunar month with notes. The 11th lunar month, the full moon rising in Cancer / Leo. The 11th lunar month with notes. The 12th lunar month, the full moon rising at the head of Virgo. The 12th lunar month with notes. The end.